Shit, check. Foreign shit, check. Fashion shit, check. Cash and shit, check. I ain't talking Nike when I'm talking about a check.
Alright, guys, what's up? This is Armin, the digital nomad. I want to talk today. I'm a little drunk, so I will keep it short and crispy, like a Snickers. And I was thinking about a situation earlier that happened to me a while ago while I was flying back from Germany to Atlanta. And whenever you do an international flight, you have to go through um, the immigration border protection or whatever, right? So you enter like a really big hall. You there was a big ass line, right? And there were probably about 20 to 30 booths. And at each booth there is a immigration officer who's going to check your documents, all right? And he's going to make sure that you're there legally and all that stuff. So it's my turn, and I get to an immigration officer. I guess they're police officers too, right? And she checks my documents, right? And then at the end, she asks me if I have another citizenship besides my German one as well, right? And of course, I don't want to lie, so I say, yeah, I do. And she asks, which one? And I say, I have a Persian one, right? I have an Iranian one, which I of course don't travel with, but still, I mention it because I don't want to lie. So as soon as I say that, her whole demeanor changes. Her face changed, her facial expression changed, everything, and she started bugging me with questions about my secondary citizenship. And we go back and forth, right? Do you have your passport with it? And I say, of course, no. I haven't been there in like a decade, which is kind of true, actually. I haven't been there in almost a decade. And so we go back and forth, and then she picks up the phone and she calls like a number, right? And she says like, "Oh, we have someone here, with a Persian citizenship and all that stuff. What should I do?" And a few minutes later, another guy arrives, another immigration officer, and they take me to a separate office where I sit down for about 2 hours, and not knowing what happens. It was a separate room, separated by a glass wall, and I see like a bunch of Indian and Middle Eastern people. And then after 2 hours, I get into a separate. Somebody walks me to a separate office, and then they bug me with questions about where I work, all that stuff, and they write everything down on a piece of paper, like handwritten, right? And yeah, finally they let me go. And I'll never forget it. When I was standing in front of that immigration officer, the first one, and she was bugging me with all these questions. Um, at the end, she was making like a really sarcastic remark. She was like, "Oh, like right when I left, right?" She was like, "Oh, is there another citizenship you want to tell me about, like a Somalian one?" And for any one of you who's pretty good with geography, right? Somalia is in Africa, while Iran is in Asia, right? It's in the Middle East. It's in Asia. And I was always thinking like, okay, why did she make that remark? Why did she have to say something like that? I mean, she doesn't know me. I'm a stranger, and she's a stranger, and yet she's an immigration officer. She's in a position of authority, and she should be, because she's in a position of authority, she should be an idol, and she should be very professional, at least in my opinion, right? And I started doing a little bit of research, and I realized that some of these immigration officers, I mean, they're paid a pretty decent income. They have a okay education. They don't know a lot about um, geography, about other cultures. They have great benefits because they work for the government, right? So okay income, great benefits. Um, they're probably not, without of course being, without trying to be like, without trying to be like, of course condescending. I assume that they're just humans, and so sometimes they make sarcastic remarks. Maybe some of them are slightly racist and they don't like immigrants. Whatever it is, and it's when you get into situations like that, especially in circumstances that shouldn't be like a big deal, like when you go to the airport or when you like walk down the street or something, um, you kind of get caught off guard. And after that situation happens, you think about things you could have said but didn't say. You think about ways that you could have reacted better, more professional, maybe more icy, or say something back that is slick, but you didn't do it, right? Because you were just like, you were stiff. You were like, whoa, I didn't expect that, right? And that was me, you know. I'm always, I'm kind of the guy who is kind of more reserved in tense situations. But after that situation happens, I always think of something that I could have said, and then I kick my own ass for things, for the fact that I didn't do it, right? Of course, in that situation, the best thing is to just brush it off because they are in a position of authority. Who knows what they can do, right? But what I really learned in that situation was that, um, you know, first off, in life, you shouldn't take things personally. Now, that is important for both the good things that happen to you, but also the bad things. When good things happen to you and you take them personally, you tend to attach your ego to those good outcomes, right? And you become dependent on those situations that are in favor of you, and you become a validation junkie. You strive for those good situations, and so that's bad. You don't want that to happen because life ain't gonna be all sunshine, right? And on the flip side, when you get into bad situations, you also shouldn't take them personally because you know we live in we live in civilized societies. Most of us, of course. If you're watching this, you're probably in the U.S. or some Western country, and when you're part of a big society like that, especially in big cities, a lot of people are going to be rude to you, and they're going to be very aggressive towards you, and they're going to say irrational things. And if you're a rational person, it's even worse sometimes because you think like people should react logically. They should be professional. They should say this and that. Don't they watch the same shit that you watch, the same human advancing shit that you watch daily on YouTube? And the answer is no. Most people don't. Um, Most people just go about their day-to-day activities, and they're exposed to mainstream media, and they get these broad ideas like terrorism, ISIS. Um, People get killed. Somebody got shot here. Somebody got shot there. The next disease, and they take these broad superficial ideas and they anchor them in their mind, but they don't make the effort to think about them critically. They don't make the effort to watch independent media, to read, to attend networking events, to talk to people who are smarter than them. So they're exposed to these primitive ideas, and when they get into situations like that where they encounter you or a person who is way different than them, they're going to say something that might hurt your feelings. And it's coming from me, man. I take things personally all the time. But what I want you to really take away from this experience I had and this epiphany I had is, man, always try your best to not take things personally. You know, I wish there was like a step by step way to break it down for you. Like, first step, do this. Second step, do this. But you really just gotta, first of all, of course, nobody wants to expose him or herself to these situations. But you know, you should try to expose. yourself to situations that are going to make you feel uncomfortable, right? So you should meet a lot of people and stuff. You should do a lot of different activities. You should try a lot of different shit, as Gary Vaynerchuk says. And when you do that, you tend to get into some situations that you don't like, right? And you're going to tend to encounter people that you don't like, who are going to say things you don't like, who are going to say things that might hurt you. And you just have to practice to not take things personally. And what you realize after a while is you don't take things personally, and you kind of grow with situations that make you feel uncomfortable. And you come out as a better person. You come out as a person who understands one more thing about human interaction. You're going to come out as a person who learns one more way to take a conversation, a situation into the direction that you want to take it in, right? And when you do this over and over again, and you get into a lot of uncomfortable situations, you become wiser, okay? And this is what life is about, to become wiser and to grow within yourself. All right, guys? That was another video. It's just kind of a rant that I was thinking about right now as I was indulging in alcohol. Hit the subscribe button, share this video if it's helpful to you, and see you next time.
Real shit, shit. Foreign shit, shit. Fashion shit, shit. Cash shit, shit. I ain't talking Nike when I'm talking about a chick.